Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kristen, and this is the last video in the three-part series covering my experiences from the 2023 San Francisco Pen Show. The last video left off on Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening, I attended the Stationery Cafe happy hour. That was a great experience. I met so many people and had such great conversations about fountain pens, nib grinds, vintage pens. Yeah, I met some great people and they had some absolutely great fountain pen collections. It was very cool meeting new people. And Franz, I didn't realize how passionate he was about Pelikan fountain pens. So we had a little quick conversation about Pelikans as well. He showed me, it's the Pilot Custom 823, the Fujiyama Blue. I think that was the one that was released by Bunga Box. I wasn't fast enough to get one of those, but he had one with a special grind by Matthew Chen. Matthew Chen has a very specific, very unique nib grind, and I think it's called the Bird Beak. Franz let me use his fancy Fujiyama Blue Pilot Custom 823 with this nib grind on there, and I had so much fun with that one nib. Oh my gosh. Someday in the future, I would love to have that Bird Beak grind by Matthew Chen. So that's one of my future goals is to really have that experience on one of my own fountain pens. But yeah, that was great. That was just one of the many experiences, one of the many beautiful fountain pens that I got to test out. Just connecting with people who have the same passion that you do about fountain pens, people who have different experiences but within the same hobby, and it was so cool. I've been learning this year that it's okay to meet new people. It's okay to meet new people. And it's been so fun just meeting people and learning about the things that they love and seeing how fountain pens really fit into their own lives. Okay, so that was the Stationery Cafe happy hour. It was awesome. It was a get-together. There was nothing that was like specifically planned for the event, but I think that's what made it great. It gave us the opportunity to really sit around a table, pull out our favorite fountain pens, discuss the things that we purchased and the experiences that we've had so far. I met one person who had several Pilot vanishing points. They were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, I'm wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt. He had a Mickey Mouse themed Pilot vanishing point. It was so cute. It was so beautiful. Those types of experiences that you don't get anywhere else, I really love connecting with other people in that way. So that was pretty cool. So that was the end of my Saturday. Sunday was a pretty slow day, and I'm glad that it was a pretty chill day for me because I had done so much. I had purchased so many things on Friday. I had done so much on Saturday, and then on Sunday, I got to chill a bit. So one of my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful new friends at the pen show woke up and signed my name, added my name to the wait list of Mr. Mike Masuyama. And I was able to get nib grinds from Mr. Masuyama on Saturday. I was beginning to feel hopeless that I would not be able to have any grinds by Mr. Mike Masuyama. I had gotten to the point where it was like, you know what, I might just have to let this one go and be okay if I don't have anything ground by him this year. Because of my experiences with Matthew Chen's Bird Beak grind, I was so ready to go and sign my name on his wait list if I didn't get high enough on the list. So a beautiful friend, so kind. She put my name on Mr. Mike Masuyama's wait list so that I could be seen on Sunday. And I was number 9 on the list, and she did it at 6:30 in the morning. There were 8 other people. There were 8 other people on the list ahead of me at 6:30. But yes, thank you so much, friend, for doing that for me. I really appreciate that. Mr. Masuyama ground my beautiful new Pelikan M800 down to a cursive italic. So it's a broad cursive italic now. And my second pen, because there was a limit of 2 pens for him, my second pen was the one that I really wanted ground by him. It's the Bunga Box Pro Gear Slim Mini Small World Magic of Alice. This is a super long name, but it's a beautiful pen. That was the only one that was available at last year's conference. So I purchased it with a broad nib, and I got that ground down to the Naginata Togi by Mr. Masuyama. I'm happy. I'm very happy with those two grinds. I'm happy that I was able to get my nibs ground by him. After that, I attended the Bay Area Planners Meetup. I didn't stay for the entire event, but I enjoyed myself while I was there. I met Simone again. Hi, Simona. I was able to see and meet up with Simona on that day, on Sunday morning. It was great catching up with her. I really enjoyed it. I hope to have the opportunity in the future to meet up with fountain pen enthusiasts more often, because it's just so great talking pens. I have a YouTube channel because I like to talk pens. So if I can talk pens with someone in person who really enjoys it, like that's fun. So I attended a pen sharing meet and greet. It wasn't what I was expecting. And that was the second time that I attended a meeting that wasn't exactly what I was expecting to encounter. The first event that I attended was on Saturday morning, and I forgot to mention it. I attended, what is that? Why does that say 0 minutes? So the first event that I attended, I didn't know what to expect at this first event. I thought it was going to be a workshop, but it was more of a meeting about the company Cusado. So CY and his fountain pen partner, Ben Walsh of Gravitas Pens, spoke about, I forgot the name of the pen, but they spoke about CY's new fountain pen that was being released, or that has been released very recently. And I got a chance to test out the pen, and it is beautiful. It feels great. It is easy to clean. So I didn't know what to expect, but by the end of the event, I was sold. I want one of those fountain pens at some time in the future. So once all of the, Okay, so the last thing I remember is the Cusado meeting. I didn't know what to expect at Cusado, but by the end of the meeting, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to purchase one of CY's fountain pens. So once all of the excitement dies down and they kind of regulate sales and everything, I'm gonna sneak in and get me one of those fountain pens as well, because it's excellent. He did a really great job on the quality of the fountain pen, and so I'm very impressed, and I would love to have a fountain pen designed by Mr. CY. Oh yeah, so the reason why I mentioned that was the first event that I didn't quite understand what to expect. The second event was actually on Sunday, and it was called Pen Sharing Q&A. So I thought I was going to walk in to one of those events where either I was going to test out someone's pens, or we were going to mutually test out pens. And it was neither one of those. I guess that's one thing that I wish had been better executed. The workshops and event descriptions. Sometimes I was a little confused about what to expect at some of these meetings. The organizers of this pen sharing meeting were introducing us to this pen sharing model that has seen great success in Europe. I'm not sure if it's specifically the UK. She wanted to bring that sort of virtual pen sharing club to the US. At this point, I'm not very interested. That's that. There wasn't anything else by Sunday that I was really interested in seeing. By the afternoon on Sunday, I had slowed down to the point that I realized that I needed food. So I took a lunch break. I met up with my husband and kids at the Pens for Kids workshop. These little kitties. They drew things for me. Look at them. So my daughter, she's the older sibling. She's reached the age where calling me mommy or writing mommy on her letters to me is no longer considered cool. That's all of the specific events that I attended on Sunday. I think that was everything that I did on Saturday. So Friday was the nib care and tuning. Saturday was Cusado, the nib grinding, and the Stationary Cafe happy hour. And Sunday was the Bay Area Planners meetup, the pen sharing Q&A, and the Pens for Kids workshop. Quite a few activities, but I'm so glad that I attended so many meetings, because it took me away from the fountain pens, which is, fountain pens are my weakness. And I know that for sure now. Now that the pen show is over, and I've come down from the high of buying things and connecting with fellow like-minded people, I wanted to take some time to break down some of my experiences. I want to go over the 3 things that I did well and also talk about 3 things that I could do better. I mentioned a couple of these before, but I do want to also record some of the goals that I have for the near future, or at least within the next year. The first thing that I did well, I had specific goals for the pen show. These are just some of my rough goals, rough notes that I had been updating well before the conference began, just to see which pens I was interested in testing out / purchasing, and thinking about the pens with the nibs that I wanted to be ground or tuned and smooth. While I was in the moment at the San Francisco Pen Show, sometimes it felt like I was making impulse buys or impulse purchases, but I had already anticipated about half of those purchases because I had already written it down in my notes that I wanted my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini ground into either a perspective or an architect or cursive italics. Perspective is Gina Salarino's version of the Naginata Togi, and I actually got a Naginata Togi grind from Mike Masayama. The Wancher Dream fountain pen was a medium, and I wanted in a cursive italic. Kirk Spear grounded into a cursive italic for me. So these are some of the things that I really wanted to accomplish at the San Francisco Pen Show, and I was able to do that. I didn't feel like I was just wandering and throwing my money at everybody who looked at me, even though it kind of felt like it by the end of the day. But having a list of goals kind of guided me to specific vendors so that I would not be overwhelmed or lost throughout the entire pen show. So that was the first thing that I did well, is I had a goal. I had goals that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to visit Franklin Christoph, and I wanted to purchase one of their pens. I was prepared to purchase one of their pens, and I purchased one of their pens. I was prepared to purchase a Schoen Design fountain pen with a monarch nib. I wanted to test one out before I bought one, but I was ready to buy one. So those were like the really big ones that I really wanted. And the Omas Ojiva, I wanted to find one at the pen show. I didn't know who would have any. I saw a few Omas fountain pens, but the one that I really wanted, Kirk Spear just happened to have it at his table. And I'm so glad. I'm so happy about that one. So some of the bigger purchases were actually planned purchases. That Pelican M800, I've admired that thing from afar. I have. And I believe that eventually I would have purchased that one because I just love how it looks. And I honestly don't think that YouTube videos and photos do that fountain pen any justice, but it is so beautiful. So that was the first thing. Goals. The second thing, I was prepared with supplies. I brought my fountain pens. Because of personal reasons, I only had the capacity to bring my currently inked fountain pens. And I'm glad that I did that because I could journal with my currently inked pens, and I could also test out papers with my currently inked pens. And I could also let other people try some of my fountain pens. I love the social part of bringing your fountain pens. And they spark such great discussions and conversations with other people when they see the type of preferences that you have. Because if somebody just opens up like a 40 pen case full of Pilot vanishing points, they have a story to tell. And you don't get to have those types of conversations if you don't bring things to show others what you believe is beautiful. I brought pens. I brought paper. That paper was useful for the pen trays. My paper was also useful for the Travelers Company stamps. I got to test out so many fountain pens. I tested out Pilot pens. I've tested out Franklin Christoph pens. I tested out Kirk Spear's fountain pens that he had as samples for some of the nib grinds that he does. Each company, each vendor, each nib grinder is probably going to have their own fountain pen friendly paper. You'll have Kokuyo paper at Pilot. You'll have Rhodia paper, I think, with Kirk Spear, and you'll have some other paper at Franklin Christoph. And then you can't really compare and contrast these fountain pens if you're using 3 different types of paper. If you're really trying to make a decision on what fountain pen to purchase or what type of nib grind or nib size you want, it would be best to have like a consistent type of paper across the board. So yeah, I was prepared with paper so that I could test fountain pens all on the same paper. Sometimes I didn't follow those rules, but it was very helpful for the times when I needed paper. I always had paper. So that's paper and that's pens. I brought a box of things that I wanted to give away to others. A box of fountain pens, papers, inks, ink cartridges, ink samples, and there might have been a couple other things in there too. There were so many things that I owned, that I possessed, but was not really getting used. It was not bringing me joy to have them in my collection, in my possession. So I let some of those things go. I let a whole lot of things go. I'm glad that I did. Actually, as soon as I completely emptied that box of those items, it was like there was a weight that was lifted off my chest, or a weight that was lifted off of my back. It was like, now I have space to breathe. I have room to breathe, room to appreciate the things that I really enjoy using. The fountain pens that I really enjoy using, I have space for them now. Well, I've been rearranging things, so I do have space for all of my fountain pens at this point. But yeah, fountain pen collection video is coming soon. Don't know how soon, but soon. The top 3 things that I would love to change about my experience at the San Francisco Pen Show so that I can have an even better experience at the 2024 Pen Show. The first one is schedule time for food. I ate dinner on Friday. I had breakfast and dinner on Saturday, and I had lunch on Sunday. I did really great in scheduling the activities that I wanted to attend at the Pen Show, but I was really struggling trying to figure out, or I did not give enough weight or priority to feeding myself, nourishing myself throughout the day. So next year, I'm actually going to put that in my schedule, just like I put a workshop in my schedule this year. So breakfast is going to be from time A to time B, and then lunch is going to be during this time. Dinner is going to be at this time. Doing that helps to ensure that I am taking those necessary breaks to feed myself and to hydrate myself. I was starstruck by everything at the Pen Show. I was not prepared to feel so overwhelmed by the crowds, feel so overwhelmed by all of the vendors and all of the beautiful things that I would find at the Pen Show. I lost focus of self-care. With that, the second thing that I would like to do is, this is part of the first one, feeding myself, scheduling time to feed myself. The second thing that I would do differently is to schedule additional breaks throughout my day. So not just breaks for eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but also taking breaks because I've been looking at fountain pens for 3 hours now. I need to take a break. Am I thirsty? Am I tired? Do I need to sit down? How long have I been hunched over looking at these fountain pens or looking at what types of papers that some of these companies have brought over, that Yamamoto has to sample? It is important to take those regular breaks. Okay, so another thing that I would like to change, or at least keep in mind for next year, is the schedule of the actual Pen Show. It seems that many of the stationary social activities are usually scheduled on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. So if I could keep in mind that those social activities are going to happen on Saturday afternoon and evening, if there are options for a workshop that takes place maybe on Saturday morning versus Saturday afternoon, I'm going to pick the Saturday morning activity just to have the opportunity to meet up with more people, because I missed it. I missed y'all, Amanda B and Jana and Maria and Simone, even though I saw you, Simone, on Sunday. I really wish that I had been able to meet up with you all. I think there were 2 meetups that happened on Saturday afternoon during the same time as the nib grinding workshop. I don't think I would have made the decision to skip the nib grinding workshop this year, but next year I will definitely keep in mind that, maybe Friday afternoons and Saturday afternoons, there might be some conflicting activities. All right, so my next goals. Now that I have really accomplished the main goals that I had for the San Francisco Pen Show, I've got some new ones. So the first one, get a Beak Point nib grind by Matthew Chen. Second goal is to purchase CY's new fountain pen. Third goal is to get an Urushi pen sometime next year. That is a long-term goal. I want to do a little bit more research, trying to figure out exactly what type of Urushi, what type of design, and what company that I'd be interested in looking at. I really do love the amount of time and care that artists are putting into those fountain pens that they create. Oh, I've been looking at the new Tassia fountain pens. You're not going to see one. You're not going to see one in the next week or so, but it might be like some months from now. I'm going to keep my eyes open and really take a look at what's out there right now and how much those things cost so that I will be prepared to purchase one sometime in the future. And this is the fourth one, you kind of like a bonus, goals. I'm going to be grinding my own fountain pens, stub nibs, cursive italic nibs, oblique nibs. I want to go ahead and put that into practice before it just goes away because I sacrifice social time in order to grind some nibs. So I'm going to be grinding some nibs this year. I think that is it. That's everything. My experiences from the pen show, it was excellent. It was great. I had great experiences with the vendors, great experiences at the hotel, great experiences with the attendees. And so I would definitely go back next year. And if you all have the opportunity to do that, to attend a pen show, I'd say go for it. Have a plan and know how much that plan is going to cost you. That is the most important thing I can tell you about attending a pen show. Have a plan and give yourself some grace with that plan. So that is it. All of my experiences and all of the lessons that I learned attending the 2023 San Francisco Pen Show. Let me know if you've gone to a pen show, if you're going to go to a pen show, what you've learned from attending a pen show. I would love to hear your advice that you would give to someone who's never been to a pen show. Please leave your expertise and your experiences in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, I think I forgot to tell you what I did purchase on Sunday. It was not a fountain pen, but I got one of these themed make-a-book. Let's make a mini book from Everyday Explorers Company. And 4 sheets of their stickers. Absolutely beautiful. It was so difficult for me to decide which ones I wanted to purchase, but I absolutely adore their aesthetic. That's everything now. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.